We've been waiting for this moment. Generations of innovation all coming together in one place. A pedigree of more than 70 years of NASCAR Cup Series history, from the past to the present, from Petty to Earnhardt to Elliott. Today, there's no more waiting. The future of NASCAR is now. Drive the next-gen cars today on iRacing and step into the next generation of racing.
ACOG iRacing Series here live at Daytona International Speedway, getting set to go green for the first and inaugural Super Speedway event. Not really inaugural because we ran one just last week, but regardless, first points paying event here tonight at Daytona, and what a warm welcome it is to see all these drivers out here tonight. You can go ahead and start off tonight's broadcast. My name is Ika Reyes.
And I'm Dewey Schramm. Thank you all for tuning in once again here for tonight's event. And as he said, we ran a Super Speedway race last week, but that was only for the Triple Challenge. So for the Summer Series proper, this is the opening race, and we've got 80 laps in store here for tonight with the current truck vehicles here at the high banks of Daytona. Just under a minute remaining here in the practice session. Jeremiah Bethune currently tops on the charts there with a 48.664. And this should be a really fun way to kick off this SS Series tonight.
I mean, no doubt. It's Super Speedway racing at its finest, especially here in the truck. We're running it a bit different here this season. Rather than running the Cup cars, we swapped it out with the ARCA cars. And as well, instead of running 2 per race back-to-back from, like, let's say, from the couple of last seasons, we ran trucks for the first 2 races, then Xfinity, then Cup. It's going to be truck... it's going to be the trucks, then the ARCA car, then Xfinity. Then race 4 is going to swap back to the truck for the final time, ARCA car for the final time, and after that, season finale wraps up with the Xfinity cars. So we're going to alternate between the 3 rather than going 2 per vehicle. So it should be fun to see on how that will go and how it'll all fare out. But regardless, start up this a bit late. we'll go ahead and just drive ourselves into the national anthem here for tonight. ACOG iRacing Super Speedway Series coming to here live from Daytona. We'll be right back right after we salute our nation's colors. And we welcome everybody back here live. If you're now just tuning us here for tonight's ACOG broadcast, here live on MaxspeedTV, ACOG iRacing Series, the Super Speedway League. About to go green here just momentarily. Curly drivers are taking their fastest 2 laps around this 2.5 mile oval. We'll get to zoom up on some of these drivers as we progress with the session, but man, what a warm welcome it is here at Daytona with 40 drivers on the racetrack.
Yeah, and it might be an even warmer welcome that there's under 43, which means that even though we're going to run an LCQ, it's just going to determine a couple of starting positions, and it's not going to knock anybody out of the main event. So for all these guys that are qualifying right now, at least they don't have to worry about racing their way into the field after they put these 2 laps down. So Max Eric right now, top of the board, but I'm sure over the next 2.5 minutes we'll see that change.
Yep, that's all right. There's Yurik there in that 153 kilo. Hankins good to top the charts in that number 72. Been a while since we've seen him out on the racetrack. Still
a good first lap too.
Yep, that's right. So this leaderboard's going to shuffle as we progress with this one. Benjamin A. White in this number 15 working himself off the final corner. But you see right there, Connor Brandon now tops the charts in that number 92. Hunter Johnson now at the top of the board.
Yeah, you're going to continue to see these names change and fluctuate here over the next 2 minutes as more guys start to put laps down. We'll see if Hunters is good enough to get himself the pole, but I think there's still a decent amount of people yet to either put down a lap or their second one. And there's Liam Sheen in the 246 to the top of the board. He goes with a 52.296. So we'll see if that one is good enough to start on the front row.
Yeah, there's still more drivers yet to log in some laps. I see Justin Johnson here at this number 33. He works himself into 1. Harry Grindle in the 70 currently sits 31st right now. He's still working on his second lap. Parker White in the number 95. He works himself through 3 and 4. Dominic Howe, he too is yet to log in the time. So still some more drivers logging themselves around. So sort of waiting on.
Anyone that doesn't complete their first lap by about 52 seconds is probably not going to be able to get a second one down. So for anybody that's hasn't really started yet, this right here is where they got to complete their first lap. But of course, you're going to probably see some people that are going to choose not to qualify and just start from the back to hopefully for them avoid a potential early incident. But Justin Johnson, P2, so Johnson in second and a Johnson in third here, with about 30 seconds remaining in this qualifying session. And Liam Sheen right now is still sitting pretty up at the top of the chart.
Well, Cole Woody in this number 71, of course, came up off of a win from Auto Club just on Friday. So that number 71 carrying a bit of momentum coming in here for tonight. And as well as a few other drivers I know that Kevin White Jr. picked up his first ACOG win just yesterday. I don't know if he's on the racetrack or what, but regardless, should be fun to see on how it'll all go for him.
And it looks like as the time runs out, Liam Sheen with that 52-296 is going to be your pole winner here for tonight, and he'll be joined on the front row by Justin Johnson. So congratulations to the both of them on their good laps. And again, we're going to be running the LCQ here, but since there's under 43 cars, it's just going to set the qualifying order for 39th on back. So unfortunately, we can't skip it, so we're just going to have to watch a couple of trucks go out there for a few laps, but extra practice for them, if anything.
Yeah, so this gives us time to go ahead and pull up a bit of race analytics here for tonight. Bottom right on the screen is going to be 2.5 miles around this 2.5 mile oval. 31 degrees of banking here around at Daytona. Straightaways around 300, 380. I mean, not 300, but 30 to 3,800 feet. Laps, we're gonna run 80. So that means that fuel window should be interesting to see and how it'll all go, because you maybe could split it all the way from halfway.
Yeah, it'll be close, and that pit road speed of 60 miles per hour, I'm going to be watching that here for tonight, because, you know, a big thing with super speedway racing is green flag pit stops, and if you overcook it coming down pit road, you end up with a speeding penalty, it's really going to set you back. So they're going to have to try to get themselves as close to 60 as they can without going even a mile an hour over it, or else they'll be in some trouble. So we'll definitely have to keep our eye out on when those guys do decide to get themselves down pit road. Evening session time here, so I think we're going to transition into tonight before this race is over. Temperature of 77 here, track temp of 82, and the wind pretty much a non-factor right now. So qualifying, that's usually when the wind will have the most effect, but not tonight. And it looks like Urich is the only one lined up for the LCQ. So that should mean we're going to have 39 trucks for the main event tonight. So we'll just have to wait and watch Max run a couple laps on his own.
It's Max Urich in the number 153. He qualified 39th. He's going to run some laps backwards, but regardless, a lot of people in here for tonight. Just 40 drivers. Go ahead and log ourselves in with this one. So it should be interesting to see on how it will all go toward the end. Who do you think is going to come out as a winner here for tonight? We have some prestigious names in here for this one.
Man, super speedway racing is always one of the hardest races to predict. I mean, there are people in here that are good at plate racing, but even the best of them aren't going to win them all. So, I mean, maybe Hunter Johnson's the easy pick because he's as good as he is and he's won in so many different places, but I don't really know who to pick at all, because I think we're going to have a surprise winner tonight, maybe even a first-time one.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, it is our only 6th event here in ACOG, and it should be interesting to see and how it'll all go by the end of it. But as well as we got to mention that who knows who's improved over the off season.
Agreed.
So for all those drivers who we thought were back markers, maybe running toward the front by the end of this thing, and you saw that last Super Speedway event, Joe Berge pulled off his first ACOG win over Mitch Hobbs in that number 89 just by a nose. So who knows on how it'll all go for him by the end of it.
Yeah, and we saw Berge specifically. He came close so many times and finally broke through last week and came pretty close at Auto Club the other night as well. So we'll see if somebody like him can maybe break through. Maybe somebody like Mitch, who's also come close quite a few times, especially at plate track. So maybe tonight's the night for him. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll just have to see by the end of it as Max starts off his 6th lap. The 6th lap go around, but Some other notable drivers, I mean, Liam Sheen nearly pulled off a few victories on the Super Speedway side, came up short. Blaze Crawford's in the field. We seen him go to victory lane here at Talladega. And a few other drivers. I can't name at the top of my head, but Jackson Menchue, he's in here for tonight. So for Menchue, I know he's been in victory lane at Talladega.
In one of the most chaotic ways possible.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we've seen such chaotic wins on the Super Speedway side that who knows who's going to come out on top.
I mean, of course, the one that really sticks out in my head is the Daytona 250 last year, where Peter Kenny took home the checkered flag after Dylan Basin got penalized coming to the line. So, I mean, it really can happen in just so many different ways, and there's so many different factors that go into it. You could run, the absolute perfect race. I mean, one of those tracks, you could lead every single lap, and on the white flag, you end up getting wrecked and you could finish last, depending on how it all happens. So, it's with tracks like these, it pretty much becomes a game of luck more than anything else. You just hope you miss all the wrecks.
Yeah, that's right. So, I don't know. I'm trying to think of more Super Speedway winners off the top of my head. You also got Max Brady. I know he won multiple Daytona races in the not season opener. Yeah, technically just the season opener. So, there was also who won the. Mulrooney's not here anymore. He won the Xfinity event back over Nick Miller, back when he was still in the league. Who else I could think of? Nick Indelicato. I'm not sure if he's in the session. He's won a few Super Speedway races. He won the opening truck round last season in the Winter Series. So,
Indelicato, he got off to one heck of a start last season. I think he won either the first 2 truck races or 2 out of the first 3, but you never know. This could really give somebody a whole lot of momentum, not even just for the rest of the summer series, but this could carry over into the fall for all we know once we really get things kicked into gear. So we'll see how this all goes, but I'm really excited to finally kick this off here for tonight's race and just see who comes out on top.
Yeah, that's right. Again, we'll review of what happened last week in the Super Speedway race in the Triple Challenge. 153. I mean, not a 153, but Joe Berge picked up the win. Yerk, who you see right in front of your screen, finished himself in 3rd. Mitch Hobbs in number 89 came up short just by a smidge. 0.015 was the difference between himself and the winner, Joe Berge. Luke Lafaro was in that mix as well. So Ryan Kendrick, who I think, no, it was Malachi Drake who ended up winning the Triple Challenge, who finished himself in 7th place. So I want to take a look back and see our Super Speedway winners of iScar before we dive into ACOG. Of course, new statistics into the renaming and the new brand. So the inaugural race, of course, the inaugural Daytona 250 was won by I think it was Charlie Byer was the man who won it in the most chaotic race I've ever seen. I mean, Charlie won it in a 4-wide photo finish, just about on the grass. So
that was an incredible finish.
Yeah, that too was a crazy finish.
That's a classic.
Yeah, that's a classic. I mean, as Clampett got turned across the line.
And hopefully this warm-up can get completed rather quickly here. Not sure how many laps are remaining in this. But once that's out of the way, we'll be able to get into the warm-up and into the main event.
Currently having a bit of ATVO issues, so we'll get that restarted and refired here ASAP. But man, right now just sort of standing around. I don't want to play commercials because that'll bore people out. But I mean, we'll talk about the facility here. Daytona International Speedway, of course, very famous for hosting the Daytona 500. Also hosts the summer race for the 400 Firecracker 400. Excuse me. And of course the lower series also running here. Hopefully SRX runs here.
Yeah, it'd be cool if someday SRX can expand into maybe road courses or super speedways like this and, you know, truly make it like an iRock series. But for now, we've got what we've got. And, you know, sounds a bit cliche, I guess, but for anybody that hasn't been here before, be sure to eventually make a trip down here. You know, I don't know if you've ever been here or anybody in the chat's ever been there, but I remember going there in 2010 for the whole weekend and got to see my favorite driver, Dale Jr., flip while leading at the nationwide race. And I almost cried that day, but it was all right because the next day he finished in second place after we sat for about 17 hours while they fixed potholes in the track. But even if you have a wacky weekend like that, Daytona is always going to be an unforgettable experience. So for anyone that's never been here, make it a point at some point in your life to get yourself down here to watch some races.
I want to go there. I want to go there next year for that for the Daytona 500. But
first next gen race.
Yeah, that's right. That's gonna be the first race. Gonna be run with the next gen. But I think the shootout's gonna be run with the current cars. I think, is that right?
I remember hearing something about that. I'm not sure if that's been changed or not, but it would be interesting if they ran the Clash with the current cars as a final send-off for the Gen 6. But big things coming for sure as we hopefully are inching our way closer to getting this little LCQ done here.
Again, if you are new to tonight's broadcast, of course, broadcasting the inaugural Super Speedway event here for ACOG. Race analytics shown on the bottom left. 60 miles per hour pit road, fuel window 35 to 40. That fuel window is going to be interesting. 35 to 40. If drivers want to maybe save some fuel, who knows on who's going to try to lay back and save it by the end of it. So
what was it, 75 laps tonight, right?
It's 80
laps. That's right. Yeah, so 35 to 40 for the window. Yeah, I think we could see some saving or fuel saving by the end of it. It'll really depend on how the cautions play out, but everybody, of course, will have to pit at least once. And if we have enough cautions, you could probably make it on one stop. If it goes green all the way, maybe two. It'll really be interesting to see how those cards fall when it comes to fuel, because we've had situations where fuel has decided races, not just on plate tracks, but a lot of other tracks. We'll see if that ends up being the case tonight as well.
I'm just sort of standing around for right now as he's hopefully this gets logged in fairly quickly by the end of it. But yeah, not much to really say. I guess we'll side yourselves into commercial and we'll be right back right after this. Coming to here live for the ACOG iRacing series here live on MaxspeedTV. An 80 lapper yet to log themselves through for this one. And we're back here live at the ACOG iRacing Series Super Speedway event. And a bit of a mess that was going on there during the LCQ. A bit of confusion going on. But we've, regardless, finally have transitioned ourselves into this grid. And we'll go ahead and roll off the order here with this one. Liam Sheen going to start up top of the board alongside Justin Johnson.
Yeah, got the issue rectified, thankfully, so now we can move ourselves into race mode here. Hunter Johnson will roll off in third, and he'll be joined in row 2 by Max Brady in the 57.
Connor Brandon in the number 92, going to be rounding out row number 3. Kyler Wynn right alongside of him.
Row 4, Malachi Drake in the 9, and Parker White in the 95.
Row number 5, going to be Jackson Menchu in the number 69. It's going to be Jay Mulder right alongside of him.
Row 6 gives us Zachary Thornton in the 35 and Bridger Olson in the 59. And the rest of the order will scroll down on the bottom of your screen. Pick your favorite driver and hope they do pretty good or maybe even win our race here for tonight. And we'll see where everybody lines up. There's last year's Daytona 250 winner, Peter Kenny. He'll roll off in 20th. Joe Burgee won the SS race last week. We'll see if he can repeat that here for tonight. Kevin White Jr. scored his first ever league win last night. Scott Yost returning here tonight. Good crowd of cars here to take the green flag as we get ourselves towards the rear of the field now. And towards the last couple of rows we go. And looks like that's it. So 38 trucks looks like we'll take the green flag here for tonight. Should be a good one.
And if you haven't been to Daytona, you've been living under a rock. The best super speedway, in my opinion. 2.5 miles in length. Turns 4, 1 in each corner. Pretty classic super speedway event, so not much to really say, but hold on tight, and the draft is going to be pretty prevalent on how this race will sort itself out.
Yeah, another reminder, 80 laps for tonight's race. Fuel window of 35 to 40 laps, so at least one pit stop for all of the drivers here for tonight. And depending on how many cautions there are, could be 2, maybe 1. We will see, but would not surprise me if fuel strategy ends up playing a role into who wins this race tonight.
All right, here we go. About time we get set to go green here for 80 laps of racing. Liam Sheen will lead the field off to the races alongside with Justin Johnson. Green flag is out, and 80 laps, 200 miles, going to go into the book.
And the first ever ACOG Super Speedway race is underway as Liam Sheen will lead this field of trucks here into Turn 1 for the first time tonight. I would expect that we'll see quite a few trucks drop down to the apron out of Turn 2 to get themselves towards the back to hopefully avoid any potential early trouble. And there we have a couple deciding to do just that as we present that super blurry camera here down the back stretch. Briefly 3 wide here for the lead, but Connor Brennan in the 92, no help up top, and he'll drop a couple spots.
Oh, Liam Sheen playing aggressive blocking there up on the high side. He cut out the number 33 of Justin Johnson. He backed out of it, and he swapped himself back to the inside and picked up Hunter Johnson. Oh, wow, Hunter goes to the outside for the lead. Justin's going to be the pusher of him as they go 2 by 2, about 10 rows deep.
Yeah, the two Johnsons working together here across the line, and Hunter will lead lap number 1. And you saw Liam, I think, try to move back up to block the 12, but couldn't quite do it as the 12 now come back down the track and will lead the bottom here out of 2. So the first lead change of the night, Hunter Johnson now to the top of the board.
Yeah, Hunter also playing a bit of blocking there as he hops up to the high side, cuts out now the 33 of Justin Johnson. A bit of blinking going on in the midst of that. I think that was Max Brady sort of flickering in the top side, or it might have been the 95 of Parker White, not really sure. It was a black machine, but regardless, keep ourselves clean for right now. 2 by 2 action up front, working here on lap number 3 out of 80.
And Justin will come down to the bottom, and he'll lead lap number 2. So the two Johnsons now leading the field on the bottom side. And here comes the 57 of Max Brady on the top with help from Malachi Drake in the 9. We'll see if they can make that top side work and see if Max can clear the field, perhaps, coming out of 2.
That was Kyler Wynn in the not Kyler Wynn, but the 221 of Colt Ashcraft. He tried to make something work with Zachary Thornton, and it did not form up and participate. So they're going to slide themselves back on the high side. But up front, though, 2 strong lines. It's Max Brady going to pull out forward, trying to clear the 33. And Justin couldn't do so, and Justin's going to get a run into 3 and 4.
Thought Malachi was about to get hooked, but he's going to get shuffled out of line here up top. And they're going to go 3 wide out of turn 4. They got a bit disjointed there, but they'll be 3 wide still in the tri-oval. Looks like 221 of Ashcraft now behind the 9 of Malachi as Brady will jump up. And we're 3 by 3 here into turn 1. And Malachi hits the wall, and there we go. First big one of the night. Connor Braden, Cole Ashcraft, multiple other trucks go spinning down into turn number 1. And that is a huge pileup as Brennan briefly gets his front off the ground. And this is going to take some people out of the race as another truck gets hooked into the wall there towards the end. And unfortunately, a big early race incident is going to eliminate some people from contention.
Oh, no doubt about that. That happened coming into turns number 1, in which the track just sort of, there's no runoff area, and especially when you're hitting the banking coming into turn number 1. And my goodness, that was awfully messy. As I think the first car to get hooked off of that exchange, I'm not really sure who it was.
I think the 9 got a bad bump, perhaps. Right there, I think the Ashcraft might have just hit him a bit too hard, and the track gets blocked, and there's everybody piling into it. There's Hankins in the 72. There's Brandon getting the front of his truck up off the ground. The 119 of Shuttlesworth, he's involved, and a lot of other ones. We'll get another look at this here, and I think Malachi just got hooked right there by the 221. Just couldn't get it. It's just an accordion effect, really. And everybody else just nowhere to go.
Way too early to take it 3 by 3. I mean, it's an 80-lap race, 200 miles. As you saw the 146, I think that was Mulder, or it might have been Mulder. I'm not really sure. Oh, that's Kyler Wynn.
Didn't see that at first. So 2 trucks getting some airtime here in the early going, but looks like Colton Zimmer and I saw down at the bottom. I think Shane DiMantova also involved in that. There's going to be a couple more people, I think. Looks like Bridger Olsen in the 59 also already a lap down, so we'll see if anybody ends up out of the race, but given all the smoke we saw, I'm sure there will be some retirements here just on lap 5.
Oh, man. So Brady stays himself out.
Interesting that a couple people that missed the wreck, I think, towards the front are actually pitting. There's Justin Johnson in the 33 and Hunter Johnson in the 12. Both the Johnsons were in front of the wreck, but both of them on pit road as well as everyone else that got damaged. Looks like it's going to be a fuel-only stop for the 33, which I think is actually smart. Considering how much of the field has damage and he's still going to exit pit road in front of all of them, we'll see if that could end up making the 33 good on fuel to the end.
See the
it's a bold call, but I like it.
See some smoking motors on the pit road. I think that's one of the gray machines. He'll scoot himself forward. I think that might have been Malachi Drake, the 9 machine. So
I saw the 9 and the 92, I think, with smoke, and I think there was another one as well.
Regardless, it sucks to see a big wreck like that, especially so early. So Brady picks up the lead. It's going to be Sheen in second, Parker White in third. Tristan Johnson, who was the first person on pit road, is going to pick up fourth. Bethune, Woody, Sham, Grindle, and Shuttlesworth, as well as Howe, are going to round out the top 10. All right, 1 lap to go. And looking at the damaged cars, everybody from 30th on back all have some sort of damage. Talk about slicing the field in half, and my goodness. We took a big bite out of the field, and one of the drivers who was involved in that wreck was just yesterday's winner, that number 52, Kevin White Jr. I was just talking about him. He won the dirt late model race at Lanier.
I thought Liam might have hit the wall there while warming the tires up. But even the drivers in this that, you know, may not necessarily be out of the race, there's probably going to be quite a few trucks that are going to be down on RPM, so that's probably going to create the existence, or I guess the maybe issue later on, of slower lapped vehicles potentially having to be maneuvered around by the front pack. So as this race goes on, I'm sure we'll see maybe a couple little spurts of slower trucks maybe just pacing or drafting together, and these guys will have to keep that in mind as this race goes on.
It's not going to be a single file restart off of this exchange. Might have been a session error there, but regardless, we're going to go back racing here. Max Brady in the 57 will lead the field onto the restart.
Green, green, green.
Straight out of 2007 here for this restart here on lap number 8 as the field works their way past the finish line into turn number 1. Looks like Liam Sheen's going to go right to the back bumper of Max Brady. We'll see if Parker White maybe tries to make a move with him. All tucked up on the bottom for right now, but out of turn 2, I'd expect at least one of these trucks to make a move up top.
Yeah, of course, with that big, with that fan-out restart. Oh, got a car on the wall. Thornton.
Yeah, the 35 of Zachary Thornton has gone around here out of turn 2. Looks like we're still green as the field tries to bunch up again with the top 4 still single file here out of 4. You see another little pack there of about 6 or 7 trucks right behind the leaders. And at the line, Brady will lead, but it looks like these top 5 may be pulling away a little bit.
Yeah, so we got 2 packs because of that single file restart. Of course, when you're single file, it's hard to get going, but now the 70's caught in this lead draft, and he's going to sink himself to the backside of Bethune, who's just going to go up high and just let these drivers by without hesitation. So, Grindle, what kind of run is he going to pull here? As he might take it double wide, and indeed he does. So, Grindle to the high side, see what he could do.
And you see this pack right here, they're already about 3.5 seconds behind the leaders, so we'll see how fast these guys can try to... Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, that was the lead pack. Never mind. So the top 5 has been absorbed into really the top 12 or 13 here. I thought the camera panned further back to a bigger pack, but at the line, Liam Sheen will lead nonetheless here into turn 1. So we'll see if he clears down to the bottom, but for right now, still leading that top side with Grindle and tow.
I mean, you mentioned the second pack. I mean, there's only 4 trucks in this area, and after that, you scroll all the way back to a few select drivers who are out of this mix currently. Well, up front, though, it's getting a bit dicey. Yet again, we might have a wreck brewing up here in a minute.
I certainly hope not, based off the one we've already had tonight that took so many people out. But I don't know if it'd necessarily be surprising if another one were to occur here. But out of 4, we'll see who leads at the line. And Liam's going to get hooked by the 7. He goes hard into the outside wall. He gets clobbered by Bethune and gets clobbered again by 2 more trucks. And the caution is indeed back out. And our race leader junked across the finish line.
Oh.
I think he moved up a little bit and then tried to come down in front of the 70 again, and just... The 70 had the nose there. We'll get a look at it here again. See him move up right here. Tries to move down to get back in front of him and just mistimed it. And gets hit by the 90. Gets hit again right there. I think by the 75 and the 69. And a few other trucks also go spinning in this. So a bit of a mistake there from Liam Sheen is going to take him out of the race tonight. And probably a few other people.
Dang. Yeah,
Man,
I don't know. That was a very
I don't
interesting...
know why he moved up like that.
I don't know, we'll have to get another look at it again, but...
I wonder if he was thinking that Harry was going to move up with him, and then he didn't. I'll say this, though. Max Brady and Parker White are really lucky that Liam overcorrected it back up to the high side and didn't keep spinning down to the bottom. Because right here, I was fully expecting the 57 to just get hooked right up into the wall, but Liam overcorrected instead. As Harry's in that, Benjamin White, I think, got a piece of that. There's Schmidt in the 79. I think Menchu was in that as well. So a whole host of trucks in this one. And it looks like the leaders that didn't pit on the last caution are going to come down pit road this time. So this could be a fuel-only stop here for the 57.
See.
Alright, so we'll regroup here. Lap number 12. We're going to be looking at least 10 or so trucks already done for the night with race-ending damage. So hopefully, off of the next restart, we can get ourselves a good green flag run going and keep most of what's left of the field intact. But the 72 of Kilo Hankins looks like he's staying out, so he'll lead the field here to the restart. And Justin Johnson looks like he'll be in second alongside that 72.
It's going to be Hankins leading this thing. Hankins decided to stay out here for this one. He was the only driver who stayed himself out, so I go.
Get the one to go here.
One to go yet again, so this time we go double file. So now with that wreck, we've whittled it down now to just 22 cars on this lead lap. Here we go yet again. 22 cars back. I mean, 22 trucks on this lead lap. Gonna lead this thing back to the races.
Green, green, green.
They're starting to jam up already. Kiloa, I don't think, got on the binders. I mean, not on the binders. It's brakes. Got on the throttle early. And they're already starting to fan out 3 wide.
Yeah, despite the 2 early incidents, looks like they're wasting no time at all going back 3 wide again. As Menchu, I think, was leading that top line that has now looks like gone completely away here. As Hankins still leads the bottom here down the backstretch. Justin trying to get enough of a run to be clear into 3. Will not be able to do so. And Kyler Wynn up into the top 5 after catching air in that first wreck, so I guess the damage he got isn't too bad, because now he's running right up towards the front, maybe to take the lead in a few laps.
Pierre has a bunch of damage, but regardless, he's still up in this main pack, right behind that number 33, Justin Johnson. Seems as though Peter's damage isn't as bad as what I thought, but he can't really latch onto the backside of that number 33 as. To the high side here is Brady.
Yeah, and you're going to see even in this lead pack, there's already a good amount of trucks with damage. I think Benjamin A. White's around 10th or 12th, and he's got a good amount of damage as Brady and Johnson both come down to the bottom here in turn 3 in front of the 72 of Kilowa Hankins. So Brady back to the lead here on lap 15, and we'll see if Kenny can try to lead that high side towards the front.
They're coming yet again. See a lot of damaged trucks within this pack. Seems as though, I wouldn't say a big separation right behind here, but you have to scroll all the way back to 16th, where Paul Granada currently stands around. Kilowa Hankins scoots himself down low, so not sure if Hankins is just dropping himself to the rear. Looks like he does, and Mitchie scoots himself up a lane. We're having trouble again!
Oh, couple trucks go around here. Trey Shuttlesworth, one of those, in some trouble into turn 3. Caution out again for the 3rd time tonight. And oh no! And the 71 of Cole Woody gets clipped at the very end and almost goes over. So just as we thought this was over, it gets extended. Looks like Burgee is in this, Bethune. Benjamin White's truck's destroyed. He's got smoke pouring out of the front of that truck. We'll get a look and see, and I think somebody might have gotten hooked here.
Or just another accordion effect.
Yeah, bad bump there. And looks like Trey locked it down, and I think he's going to be okay. Yeah, there's the 119. He got hooked in this, but he was able to lock it down in time. Is it Zach Amon in the 264, I think, was the one that got into the Abilene truck. I can't tell the number on that.
Might have been the 146, not really sure. No, it looks like 140.
Of Jasper Lenglade, so a tough break for him. I think this is his first ever league race, not the way he wanted it to go. And there's the blue truck on the bottom. That's Benjamin White in the 15. Makes more contact there with Lenglade. And we'll see if he gets hit again, because his truck isn't smoking yet. Oh, no, it is. Oh, that's it right there. I think that's the 04 of Granada. Plowed into the 15 and came back up the hill and just clogs the track right there. And that's where Woody got clipped and went up on 2 wheels. Bethune ends up in it again. So that's that right there. I mean, Woody had it slowed down and missed and just got blindsided by the 04 coming back up the track. So hopefully that damage for the 71 isn't too bad, but looks like Granada's night's over, Benjamin's night's over, and I think Lenglade might be as well.
Yeah,
so we're whittling down the field pretty quick.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. So another slew of trucks gonna hit pit road off of this exchange.
Cautions are going to be really beneficial to the guys that weren't sure if they were going to make it on fuel. If you fill up right now and give yourself a full tank, you're for sure only going to need 1 stop. Because if you run it down to 40, you'll have to pit around lap 58 to 60, and it'll more than be good to the end. So it would not surprise me if most of the field ends up pitting now, and guarantee that you only have to make 1 more stop from here.
It might just be a 1-stop race from this point forward. So if you want to hit pit road now, I think that's the strategy you're gonna have to opt for at the end of it. So for this top 4, I mean, they do have they did all hit pit road 6 laps ago.
That'd be fine anyway.
Yeah, they might be fine anyway. That's right.
Unfortunately, 3 big wrecks before we're even a fourth of the way through the race, so I don't even know how many trucks are left as we get the 1 to green. But I think there's at least 10 that are already out of the race. We'll wait for the ticker to scroll here. Okay, so 16 trucks on the lead lap, so over half the field already lapped on just lap 19. So we are whittling this field down at a pretty alarming rate here, so hopefully this race doesn't end up being one of attrition and we can get most of those 16 still on track at the end of the race. But with the way it's going so far, I guess at this point you're just going to have to close your eyes and hope you miss whatever gets thrown at you next.
We'll see. I mean, 17 cars on the lead lap for...
I mean, I would have expected maybe a number like that around, lap 65 or 70. I was not expecting only 17 trucks on the lead lap at lap 19. So we'll try again here. Coming to lap 20, Max Brady and Justin Johnson will be on the front row. Kyler Wynn and Parker White, row number 2. Peter Kenny, Khalil Hankins, row 3. Mitch Hobbs, Joe Burgee, Trey Shuttlesworth, and Cole Woody will round up the top 10. Shuttlesworth and Woody were involved in the wreck that brought this caution out, but I guess everybody behind them might have been as well.
Hey, his car is in.
Green, green, green.
Green flag yet again.
I think Burgee thought about moving down to the bottom, but the gap was not there to do so. Parker's going to move up to the top, or actually stay up there, into 1, as Hankins will get himself behind the 95 here, and there's a bit of a gap now on the inside, so that's going to hurt Brady and Kyler Wynn out of turn 2, and this should be beneficial to Justin Johnson here in the 3. Oh, man.
Oh.
They're getting antsy again as Justin's down onto the apron. He's going to have to merge back up. Contact between Hankins and Brady. And the 57's going to go around, and the 72 does as well. And that's going to put us under caution again as Mitch Hobbs and Burgee make a slight bit of contact. And, well, another one here is Brady's trying to gather it up and ends up spinning Hankins again. Oh, man. Unfortunately, another early one. But it looks like those hits were minor enough where I think they should all be able to continue. But not ideal, of course.
Yeah, they jammed up yet again and Justin went back on the racetrack. And I think Brady was trying to split it 3 wide yet again, but I wouldn't say yet again. It was the first time he was splitting it 3 wide, but they all got bottled up. And I think Brady was just trying to follow through with Parker White. Just didn't work.
Takedown was a bit of a racing deal. They just got all antsy and out of shape, and can't say I'm surprised it ended up being contact there as they all tried to gather it up. But the 57, I think, got the worst of that. It looks like Hunter Johnson got just a little bit of damage there, as Hobbs and Burgee did, and I think one other truck might have. As Parker White now in the race lead. Looks like Justin Johnson's going to hit pit road, and Parker makes a last-minute decision to go down as well.
More fuel only stops. Shuttlesworth decides, no, it looks like he didn't stay out. I think Jay Mulder stayed himself out in the racetrack. Here's everybody else. So one to go at the line. Shuttlesworth, Wynn, Johnson, Kenny, Schmidt, White, Woody, Menchu, Johnson, and Mulder, rounding out the top 10.
Alright, so we get ourselves rolling here again, coming to lap 24. Shuttlesworth now the race leader. I believe he stayed out under the last yellow. Kyler Wynn, Justin Johnson, Peter Kenny, and William Schmidt round out the top 5. And I believe Justin Johnson is the only one in the top 10 that has not been involved in an incident so far tonight. All the other trucks around him have a good amount of damage, and his looks almost spotless. We'll see if he can keep it that way here for the rest of the night.
Alright, here we go. We'll restack him up and go green. Bunch of trucks are damaged in this field, so I'm interested to see who's going to filter where. The green flag is out. Shuttlesworth looks like didn't go to the 33's expectations, and already 3 wide.
Yeah, 3 wide already here into turn 1. Parker White trying to make a move here on Kyler Wood and Shuttlesworth, but only has 1 truck behind him, the 69 of Menchu, so not enough momentum to make that work right now. But if more trucks jump up there, that could be viable later on in the night.
Woody drops himself down low. I think that's a smart move based on how many cautions we've already had. The back he goes, but up front though, the top 4 racing hard. And it's Shuttlesworth versus that number 146, Kyler Wynn. Oh, that's what I was expecting.
Thankfully, he holds on to it, because that could have been another big wreck. But he is fine for now. As at the line, it's going to be close between Wynn and Shuttlesworth, but it looks like the 119 will just barely lead the lap. Looks like the outside's getting a bit disconnected there with Peter and Dominic Howe. But they're still even here in the middle of turn 2.
Three-wide action as I think it's Howe picking up out upstairs with the 95. Parker White going to leave Peter out to dry. But they didn't have a good enough run to work around Peter, so all 3 of those trucks are going to stall. So now Peter's slowly falling back. Parker White's yet to clear that number 19 too as well.
So the 146 of Kyler Wynn, after catching air earlier in the night, now leads this field. And we'll see if he can keep it there out of turn 2, as Dominic Howe was leading the outside, but now Shuttlesworth makes a big move up to the top, but maybe bit much there, and he'll now drop on the outside. And here comes William Schmidt. The 79 was involved in one of the wrecks earlier, now trying to make his way up into the top 5. Bit more jostling out of 4 as Johnson makes a move, Hunter that is, down to the bottom, as the outside's getting pretty much removed, I guess, as Dominic and Peter, the only 2 trucks really up there still, as Wynn continues to lead here into 1.
I mean, this is the pack right here. It's just very small. That's it.
Yeah, with all the incidents we've had tonight, I mean, there's no big second pack, further back. This is literally all there is from here on out. So hopefully all these guys make it to the end, but if what we've seen so far is any indication, I don't know if that's going to be the case.
We still have 1 pit stop from this point forward, so that by itself is going to cut a few select drivers out of this packet. I mean, with only 14 cars on the lead lap, not all of them are 100%. I mean, right there, that's the last car on the lead lap. That's Patterson of the 02, who's just hugging the safer barrier and getting himself out of harm's way.
Side by side here, out of 2, as you see a slower truck move up high to get out of harm's way. So we'll see how many more of those end up playing into effect as this race goes on, as Parker White still leads just barely over Kyler Wynn, but here comes the bottom with a bit of momentum from Justin Johnson, and the 146 should lead this lap at the line.
Gonna be close though, but it looks like Parker White shot up ahead. He's gonna scoot himself down to the bottom. So only 2 trucks up on the high side, with the 86 and 119. Dominic Allen, Shuttlesworth, just floating around for right now. And Hobbs seems as though he can't suck himself up to the backside of this main pack. And Schmidt, I'm not sure if he's damaged. He can't really suck up the 69 Menchu.
He was involved in the Liam Sheen front stretch incident, so he's probably down a couple of RPM here. So that's definitely going to affect his ability to stay in the pack, and evidence of that. I mean, he's still in 10th place. Like, he's losing the draft of these main pack, but he's in 10th place. It looks like one of those slower trucks just lost a motor, and he'll pull down to the grass out of the way. Looks like that's Bethune in the 90. So I think he was just riding around trying to get more points, but the engine blew in the process. So his night done here on lap 30, as Justin now leads the high side out of turn 2 with help from Dominic Howe. We'll see if he can try to clear down to the bottom into 3, like Parker did a few laps ago.
Stacked up big time on the high side. Johnson fell all the way back to 4th, trying to get a push from the 86 of Howe. Scooting around the 70 of Grindle, who's up at the low side.
Outside's pretty much gone at this point. Just Hunt, the 2 Johnsons up there. Everybody else now down on the bottom. But Dominic will join them now, and we'll see if Hunter can try to make a move and clear, but won't be able to get even.
So, even though 1st through 9th are all the competitive trucks we have, Schmidt is by himself. He lost the main draft. You see that right side damage on his machine, along with Menchu and Mulder, as well as Mason Sweet.
Yeah, there's Grindle, one of the slower trucks, moving out of the way, as Hunter led the lap at the line, but won't be able to come down in front of the 95 yet. I think 1 or 2 more trucks need to jump up there, but with Mitch being the next one back there, he's damaged. So I think the outside right now is as good as it's going to get.
Now, unless one of those trucks on the inside do eventually find a hole up there, as Hunter moves himself to the front of Parker White in that 95, so Hunter Johnson, of course, veteran of ISCAR. He works himself up to the lead. No surprise, he's leading laps here.
Hunter does, in fact, clear the 95 now. So Justin now the first truck up top.
Justin's getting a bit squirrely up on their high side. I mean, we're getting on board here at the 86 as he pushes this 33. Or at least tries to!
Oh, whoa! And, oh, there they go. Peter Kenny's going to spin here into turn 3.
Right,
Dominic Howe tried to have it slow down, and I think is going to be all right. But Peter just got run into, and just that bad push right there sent everybody out of shape. And another caution here on lap 33. As they looks like they were like 5 wide, all trying to gather it up. But we'll get another look at the shove from Dominic, and it wasn't lined up. And there's Parker White trying to save it down on the bottom. We'll see if he ended up saving that, and indeed he did. Great job there by the 95, but unfortunately, Peter not as fortunate and gets run into there by Woody in the 71.
Yeah, it was Shuttlesworth, the one who hit Kenny in that exchange, so another caution. Stack him up yet again. And on the pit road goes everybody.
Honestly, I think it's a no-brainer at this point. It's such a small field. You know, track position really isn't as much of a factor at all as it would be if there were still, 40-something trucks in the field. So it can't hurt to get some of that damage repaired and at least top off on fuel to the end.
Johnson has a bit of right side damage off of that exchange, so on the pit road he goes. You see Justin Johnson there at number 33. I think he's taking on a bit of optional. Mitch Hobbs, 7.9 pit stop by him, so in and out he goes. We'll see the drivers here skirting themselves. Slowly running out. I mean, all these drivers just taking as much optional as they can before the pace car eventually picks them up. But number 89 of Mitch Hobbs, well, he's leading here at Daytona. Just noticed a bit of an ATVO issue. Do apologize about that. We'll get that restarted here right about now, but hopefully intervals do eventually pop up correctly. There you go. It's a long ways to go. I mean, still 45 laps to go in this race. But already, many contenders already eliminated off those opening laps of tonight. And we're left with just 11 on the lead lap. I don't know who got the wave around off of that exchange. I think it might have been Mason Sweet, or might have been William Schmidt if he was one lap down.
Yeah, I think there's only like 11. Yeah, there's only 11 trucks in the lead lap, so not a lot of people left.
Nope.
So we're we're approaching halfway, and about a fourth of the field is still on the lead lap. So hopefully the ones that are left can stay that way and make it to the end. But with all the damage that's on these trucks, I don't even know who's gonna have the RPM and the
Green flag.
to
green
be able to
flag.
stay up there. But we're back under green here on lap 37, and we'll see how big this pack ends up being. And we're gonna wreck on the restart. 2 trucks go through the grass and then come back up the track. I don't know who that white truck is. Looks like there's not going to be a caution. That's Mason Sweet in the 56. And there was somebody else involved in that as well. But will not be a caution, as Parker White will retake the lead here out of turn 2. And you see the damaged truck of Mitch Hobbs just doesn't have the RPM to stay up there.
Parker suits himself down, and Dominic, who is involved in that last yellow, is scooting himself to the front. Kyler Wynn's going to push him into 3. And he's looking down low. Oh, he's going to hook him.
Oh, and he gets hooked.
right,
Oh no. And the 51 of Jay Mulder. Oh, man, that was a massive hit. And we're going to wreck him up again as Dominic Howe, Kyler Wynn, Jay Mulder. The 51's definitely done. And you see Cower had a big move. Dominic blocked too late. And the 51, oh man, got kicked around and everything. And a violent way to end his night. And we'll see the damage for Dominic and Kyler. But, man, unfortunately, these guys just can't stop wrecking tonight.
No, I mean, obviously the 146 had the nose there. That's all Dominic Howe's fault.
Yeah, Kyler made a really good move. He had a huge head of steam. Made a good move to the bottom there in a 3, and just a block that was way too late for the 86, and unfortunately gave himself a lot more damage as well. So again, Mulder is definitely out of the race from that. Kyler still leads, but he's got more damage now than he did before. One of those nights, I guess.
Oh, definitely one of those nights. I mean, there's nobody escaping out of here without a 0X. It has been messy. Look at the amount of damaged cars. This is probably the messiest field I've seen in a while. I mean, who isn't damaged, though? Justin Johnson, he goes for a fuel-only stop. And
Well, Justin, his right rear is bent in, so I don't think there's any spotless trucks left. There's no way.
No way. No way.
Everybody that's left has some degree of damage. And honestly, the wreck we just had was a good break for the 56 of Mason Sweet and the other truck involved on that restart wreck, because of course they lost the draft as a result of that. So this allows them to pit to repair some of that damage and also catch up to the rear of the field. But I don't even think we're gonna have a free pass for this caution. I think it would have been Mason, but maybe it's not giving it to him because he was involved in a wreck on the same lap.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think we're going to have 8 trucks on the lead lap for the restart, and that's it.
Man, 8 trucks.
And there's still half the race left.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be interesting as well, because we're at the edge of this fuel window. So I think everybody probably going to top off on fuel, by my guess, and work themselves out back onto the racetrack. So We'll have to see
Yeah,
if we
with
get the
only
one to go this time by. But if we don't, I think these drivers might have to split this 40 lap run into two.
Wouldn't surprise me if a couple of stragglers further back come down and top off. Because now that we're at lap 40, we're going to be coming to 40 to go. So you're at the very end of that fuel window. So if you pit right now, you're going to be good to the end, barely. So I think a couple of people did, as there's some guys getting off of pit road still. So I think there were some people probably topping off and maybe going down for a little bit more, getting as much optional as they can. I mean, with so few cars left in the field, I mean, you're not really going to lose anything if you restart maybe in 7th instead of 5th because of how few trucks there are. So you might as well just go down and get as much damage as you possibly can fixed. And you never know, with all the damaged trucks that are even left, that repair could even make a difference between winning or not at this point.
Yeah, that's right. It's that one race in real life in which everybody was just damaged. It was a Dega race in the Cup Series.
I want to say it was the 2017 fall race.
Probably.
That was like this.
It was exactly like this, except it happened toward the later stages of the race in which everybody was just wrecked. But, I mean, only 8 cars on the lead lap. Pretty atrocious for a super speedway. And
this is like the 2002 Busch race at Talladega when the 30 car wreck happened before the halfway point, and I think like 7 or 8 cars finished on the lead lap in that race, and I think Kenny Wallace got a top 10 in that race with the blown engine. So we're definitely looking at a night like that tonight, as we're back green here as we hit the halfway point here in tonight's event. Justin Johnson back up front. Trey Shuttlesworth trying to get second away from Parker White.
And every single one of these trucks has some sort of damage.
6 trucks in the main pack.
6 trucks in this main pack, and this is Mitch Hobbs, who's sort of by himself. I mean, not by himself, but
Schmidt and Kenny are, I think, multiple laps down. Or no, actually, no, they're on the lead lap. So we've got 8 trucks on the lead lap, and Bridger Olsen in the 59. Okay, there's a lapped truck in this pack, so that's why my numbers were off. So I think there's 5 lead lap trucks here, and then the 4 back there, and that's it. That's your field.
Yeah, and Olsen, even though he's laps down, he's running in 18th spot currently. I mean, currently it displays him at 25th, but he's running in 18th right now because ATV was being weird.
I think he was involved in the very first incident too, but just by staying out there, he's gaining a bunch of spots right now because there's so many trucks that are out. I mean, 9th place is 3 laps down. If Hunter Johnson and Harry Grindle end up, if all of them are out of the race, I mean, it's possible that Bridger Olsen can get a top 10 while 30 laps down. So, I mean, of course, he's got no shot at winning the race, but you never know with this 6-race season. If he stays out long enough, you never know, those points could come in handy later.
I mean, yeah, points matter a ton. So for all these drivers who are running for that points championship out here on the racetrack, I mean, you have still Hunter Johnson in this 12. He's going to run he's still in this top 10 regardless. Harry Grindle's out running laps as well. Bridger Olsen, we mentioned him. He's in 18th. He's running laps. Camosa's out here on the racetrack. He's 19th. And the drivers between 19th through 1st who are out of it, for sure, Mason Sweet is disconnected, and Dominic Howe, as well as Jeremiah Bethune. So Benjamin A. White still on pit road. Paul Granada, he too is still on pit road. They have yet to work themselves back on the racetrack. So it's now a question of who hits the racetrack the fastest out of all those drivers who are still on pit road, and can they log enough laps in which they could pass those cars who have disconnected.
Yeah, gonna be interesting for sure. I mean, Bridger could just sit there and just, vibe for the next 36 laps, and, it'll be the easiest passes he makes probably ever in iRacing. So Shuttlesworth still tucked to the back bumper of Justin Johnson, but with all this damage, I mean, the only way he could even make a move on Justin is if he gets help from Bridger right now, because you see the separation between Or actually, Kyler's now back up there, so we still have 4 lead lap trucks in this pack. But of course, if Parker and Kyler have to make a move, they got to go around Bridger first.
Reminds me a lot of what happened Saturday night. A lot of drivers just wiped out before that halfway mark, and it came down to a 6-horse race. And here we are again, same situation, but instead with more drivers in. I'm pretty sure everybody's walking out of Daytona a bit disappointed.
I mean, even the winner, because the winner of this race is guaranteed to have a pretty good chunk of damage, as Mitch Hobbs goes a lap down, so as Kenny does as well. So we're down to just 6 lead lap trucks now, as the damage to the 89 too severe to keep up with the pack. So we still have 35 laps to go, and we're down to 6 trucks on the lead lap. So definitely not the night I was expecting to see, but sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles.
I mean, there's 6 trucks in this lead pack, but not all of them are on the lead lap. Schmidt is all the way back here with Grindle, 28 seconds back, so he too is fairly damaged off of this exchange, so we'll see if Schmidt can get some type of damage repaired and get himself rolling. But regardless, up front, it's all been Justin Johnson, but those drivers right behind, they've been making challenges for right now, but there's just not enough people to really push that outside line forth, as Bro Olsen on the 59 gets a bit sideways right up off the corner.
For the lead, Olsen's going to help Parker White here, so a truck 30 laps down is going to push another truck to the race lead here, or at least is going to attempt to. But they got a bit disconnected, as Hankins will go down another lap as he tries to stay out and get some more points. Parker White's making another charge of it here through the trial one. I think he might lead the lap with the line. Gonna be pretty close.
I mean, how about that for Parker White? He's going to use Olsen as his best friend, and similar to what we saw, if you want to compare it to a real-life race, Kurt Busch, he had a bit of an issue at the Talladega Cup race, and he helped Ross Chastain get back into the lead. So, just because you're out of contention for the win doesn't mean you're not viable to help out some other drivers on the racetrack, and Olsen just doing that to Parker White.
Yeah, to an extent, it might irritate some other drivers a little bit, but, you know, I mean, you've got a right to be there. I mean, your truck's as good as the ones that are left, so why not, I guess? As you see, Schmidt has lost the draft. He's now 38 seconds back, so he's going to get lapped pretty soon here. As Shuttlesworth makes a move up to the top, as Kyler Wynn has lost the draft. He's that white truck now at the top of your screen. So we're down to just 5 trucks in the lead pack, 4 of which are on the lead lap, and we're going to be down to 5 on the lead lap here soon once the 79 gets put a lap down.
Yeah, there's Schmidt just by himself right now, but up front, Olsen is sort of playing a bit of a pillow between himself and that second place car of Justin Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bridger is the least damaged truck left. His only issue is that he's 30 laps down, so... But you see him on the ticker, he's now up to 16th place, so just by running these laps, he's picked up 2 more spots since we last updated his position. And again, you never know, those 2 points could make a difference at some point, as Peter Kenny will go 2 laps down here as he gets out of the leader's way. And I think that's Schmidt up there about to be put a lap down. Yeah, there he is up top. So we're down to 5 trucks on the lead lap. As mentioned, we'll use Schmidt as a bit of a draft there. Try to get back to the back bumper of Shuttlesworth.
So currently, Olsen has moved himself into 16th. Make up 15th here, and I'd say about
Couple laps.
a few laps from now. Hankins is back on pit
10
road.
laps.
Yeah, and Mulder's
And Mulder's Jay Mulder's out, so he's going to pass him in about 17 or 18 laps. Mason Sweets, he's done for the night, so he'll pass him before this is over. Dominic Howe is out, so he'll get at least 2 or 3 more spots before this night's over. And I don't know if Hunter is out or not, sitting there in 10th place. I don't know if he's on track still. But at the very least, Bridger's going to walk out of here with the top 15, even though he's 30 laps down. So, approaching 30 to go at the line. Parker White still out front. Bridger Olsen 30 laps down behind him. Justin Johnson in second place with Shuttlesworth and Menchu. And that is your field.
I mean, so by terms of how you want to play out the race, if you are one of those drivers on the lead lap, it's not like you got to set yourself up with like 15 or 10 laps to go. You can make the move with like 2 laps to go and gun for it with ease. So for all these drivers who are still in this main pack, they can just roam around for right now and just stay themselves in line. I guess you could make a couple moves, get yourselves up only 1-2 spots, but regardless, for all these drivers in this main pack, I wouldn't say they're playing a waiting game. It's just a matter on how you're going to work yourselves into that top spot by that white flag.
Yeah, and with how small this field is, that last lap probably feels like an eternity from now. Still 28 laps to go next time by. I mean, see Kyle win there about 22 seconds back, so I'd imagine probably in 5 or 6 laps, they're going to put him a lap down. And that's going to leave only 4 trucks on the lead lap, and all 4 of them currently in camera shot right now, so this is it. This is literally it. All that's left are the guys currently in camera shot. Definitely, again, definitely not how I expected this night to go, but it's what we got here, so we'll see who among these 4 will come up victorious.
Granada has worked himself back into the racetrack, so he's 31 laps down. Olsen's 30 down. Camosa's back on the racetrack. Benjamin A. White has yet to hit the racetrack. And Mulder and Kiloa Hankins are on pit road. So Kiloa looks like he towed it, as well as Mulder. So Olsen has to wait, like I'd say, it's select few, like 15-ish laps. And he does have time to work himself around 5 more other drivers. And Hunter Johnson, Harry Grindle, and Peter Kenny, all those other drivers are on pit road as well. So Peter being 5 laps down, Harry being 10 laps down, and Hunter being 13 laps down.
Another truck a couple laps down will get past here. I think that might be Granada, actually, so I think he's now 32 laps down. And unfortunately for him, too slow to latch on to the rear of the pack, as Justin Johnson has gotten the lead away from Parker White, as Olsen got shuffled out a little bit. So now the top 2, both on the lead lap, and Parker's there. But Shuttlesworth and Menchu unable to get around Bridger, and at this point, I wonder if Shuttlesworth and Menchu are too damaged to even make a move to get around him.
I mean, making some sort of a charge. I mean, if I was Shuttlesworth, I want to bribe that number 59 to get right behind me and sort of push me to the front like he did with Parker White earlier. But with that number 59 playing a bit of an interesting factor into this main pack, I'm not sure how it'll all go by the end of it. So all eyes are on how the 59 is gonna affect this finish. So he's sort of the catalyst on how this is all gonna go. I think he'll move out of harm's way by the time the white flag waves, just for everybody to sort it out. But in terms of running order as of right now, Olsen is definitely, even though he's not on the lead lap, he's going to be a factor in how everybody will set themselves up coming to that white flag.
Not very often a car 30 laps down is going to be the biggest difference maker in a race, but here tonight looks like he's going to be, as we've hit the 25 to go mark here. So starting to get ourselves down into the closing stages of this race, and you see the interval there between these leaders and Kyler Wynn up to 44 seconds, so he will be lapped here in the next probably 1, 2, 3 laps. So that's going to leave us with just 4 trucks on the lead lap. And yeah, I guess
Yeah, not much to say. It's hilarious. I mean,
like, it's such a ridiculous thing to say because, like, in a situation like this, that like almost never happens. So it's like, how do you even talk about it? I guess.
I know this. I wouldn't say the first time I've seen it. I've seen some pretty bad races, but I'm not gonna lie. This is pretty it's hard to say atrocious here in the broadcast, but it's pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. And
a situation like this, I mean, can you really sugarcoat it at all? Though, I mean, it just hasn't been a pretty race.
No, it just hasn't. Like,
as Peter goes, I think 10 laps down now.
Yeah, so Peter's back on the racetrack. As they're making moves, or at least trying to make moves right behind. Harry and Hunter have yet to hit the racetrack.
What happened to Trey? Oh, there they go. Bit of a disconnect there between that group. It looks like Kyler's latched on to Schmidt. So Kyler's going to go a lap down. Schmidt's going to go 2 laps down. Hobbs will go down 3. So just 4 trucks now on the lead lap with 23 to go.
And I don't even know if these drivers do have to pit or what.
I don't think they do.
I hopefully don't think they do, because I'll throw in another factor. Olsen gets a push from Shuttlesworth, who moves himself in a second, but not going to affect the lead.
Yeah, Shuttlesworth had second for about 3 seconds before Parker got it back. But yeah, I think this is a deal now where, you know, Bridger and Trey can get a run up there, but it just stalls out. I think, you know, I don't think Menchu's truck is strong enough to make a run up top. We'll get a look here if Menchu if he goes up high to turn 2, that'll be a good test to see, or a good gauge to see where we're at in terms of the ability to make moves like that. But he'll be tucked to the back at Shuttlesworth for now. But I just don't know if his truck is strong enough to make that much of a difference on the top. So Trey, he's going to really have his work cut out for him. He's sitting there in 3rd place. You know, 3rd's a great run, but, you know, with this few trucks out, it's like, you know, anything other than a win is disappointing now. So
yeah, that's totally right. I totally 100% agree with you.
It's like, at this point, you only have to beat, like, at the beginning of the race, oh man, I got to beat, you know, 36, 37 other people. Now it's, I got to beat 3 people. And, you know, if you can't beat 3 people, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of disappointment there. So we'll see what Trey and Jackson can do before this is over. Man.
So, Menchu's still sort of riding at the tail end of this pack, sitting in 4th spot. 5 trucks in this pack. And, get to see a few other drivers hit the racetrack. Peter Kenny, of course, we just mentioned him. He's back on the racetrack now in this number 19, and he's just sort of floating around at 155. Curly 8.
Hey, he's in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, how about that? I mean, Hobbs, he's sitting in 7th. Schmidt, of course, we saw him with Kyler Wynn earlier. Wynn sits at top 5 with being 1 lap down.
Worth noting as well, Justin Johnson has not won an ACOG race before. That 33 is looking for his first ever league win tonight. As Parker White, Shuttlesworth, and Mensch, I believe, have all won. Well, Parker's definitely won before. I'm not 100% sure about Trey. Jackson's won before, but Justin Johnson never won here in never won here in ACOG before. So we'll see if maybe this is the night where he breaks through after what's been a pretty wacky race so far.
19 laps to go. And if we do have to have at least one more pit stop, I'm pretty sure every single driver in this main pack has to elect with the same strategy. If you're not a part of that strategy, well, crap. You're gonna lose the draft, and you're gonna be out of it. So.
Hey, you could lose the draft and still finish 4th.
Yeah, you could still lose the draft and finish 4th.
Still not a bad night.
Yeah, still not a bad night. But again, as you said earlier, gonna be really disappointed to not come out with a win. So I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
like
There's a
I
1
said,
in
it's
4
like-
chance of one of these 4 drivers winning.
Yeah, like I said,
Oh, here we
it's like,
go.
oh, here we go. Pit
And-
stops here.
And Justin doesn't go with anybody. So that means it's going to kill him.
Well, we'll have to see if Parker White just got a speeding penalty because he really locked him up there coming down the pit road. But I wonder if Justin stayed out because I think he might be good on fuel to the end. But the issue with doing that is that these guys are going to be all together when they come off pit road, and eventually they're going to catch him.
Yeah, if I was Justin, man, I'd be pretty frustrated, honestly. To not go with these 4 drivers. Olsen's going to lead the field off as Shuttlesworth lashes onto the backside of Parker, or at least tries to. They got to get regrouped as well. I mean, there's only 4 drivers in this main pack. And there are only 2 of them are really organized. So Shuttlesworth has to back up to Menchu and get himself going.
Oh, man.
And Justin's in.
And here comes Justin on his own. Yeah, we're going to have to see if Parker White ends up getting a speeding penalty or not. Because like I said, he really cooked it coming down into the pit lane. So we'll see out of 4 if he comes back down again. As he's latched onto the back bumper of Bridger. And if Parker has to pit to serve a penalty, that's really going to throw another wrench into what's going on here.
And these top
Looks
2
like he may not have.
Yeah, looks like not. So, I mean, look at this. Shuttlesworth and Menchu are by themselves, so Parker could just ride around right behind of Olsen and pull himself away from these 2 right behind and secure a win that way. But, I mean, it's just a term of where Justin's going to come out. 6.6 second, 6.67.
There goes Parker.
And Parker's around Justin, so
Justin to the lead, so Justin's going to have to hope. Oh, Justin may not even be able to get to the back bumper of Menchu now. We'll see what these 3 can do, but they're all disconnected.
well, this is what I was worried about. So now
That might have just gift wrapped the win to Parker White.
I don't know. Not yet. I think
Maybe.
Shuttlesworth still has a shot. He has Menchu on his rear, but the question is, how damaged is Menchu, and how damaged is Shuttlesworth? So I wouldn't necessarily say the 95 is a sitting duck for right now with 16 laps to go, but I mean,
Well, if those other 3 can't get grouped together, it's over. That's all it is. If they don't get together, then good win Parker. There's no one else that can contend. So Trey and Menchu, they're now bumper to bumper, but Justin has lost the draft now.
yeah, and that's the situation I just talked about. You need to be on time and scheduled with your pit stop, and Justin was 1 lap late, and he now gets disconnected. So, oh, look at Shuttlesworth come out of nowhere. Here he comes.
Oh, the big run. There they go out of 4. Shuttlesworth and Menchu both go up high, and for the first time tonight, under green, Trey Shuttlesworth will lead at the line. 15 to go, and he'll be able to clear, but can he drag Menchu with him? But
Well,
Parker jumps up in front of Bridger. Now they can both. Menchu jumps down. Trey does not. So here comes Menchu to take the race lead.
so yeah, Menchu back to the front.
As Justin's now falling further back. So Justin's only hope now is a caution coming out.
Shuttlesworth blinking as well. So now 4 cars left in this draft.
And Kyler is now back on the lead lap. He is not pit, but unlapped himself since the leaders did.
There's poor Justin, who's
He's about to get lapped again, though.
Yeah, there's poor Justin, who's just left by himself. He'll need a caution to regroup himself, make something happen. But
And with only 4 trucks left, I mean, are we going to get one?
yeah, that's right.
I mean, anything could happen. We could have a caution with these 4 trucks, but just the likelihood of that happening is, not very high at all. As Menchu will go down to the bottom on his own. As there's Kyler and William. That's the 2 trucks just now coming into camera shot. So Kyler's going to go back a lap down again, and William's going to go back 2 down. So on the off chance the yellow comes out, Kyler will get the free pass. As here comes the 4 lead pack trucks to get around these 2. And we'll see if Kyler and William can try to latch onto the back of these 4, but I think they might be too damaged to do that.
I mean, they could latch on to Justin, who's sort of
He's now
5.7
6 seconds
yeah,
back.
6 seconds back. So I think it might be over for Justin. So now 3 trucks left to compete for the win, plus a lap car.
Poor Justin.
And there's still a lot of racing left. 13 laps to go. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Kyler and William just got disconnected, I think. So they're not gonna be able to latch on back here. Oh, Kyler's
engine's gone.
So the 146, he was running in 5th place, and his engine has expired, so he's going to be done for the night, and that's going to put William into the top 5 while 2 laps down, and it's going to elevate whoever's in 11th place right now, Bridger Olsen's up to 11th place.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, he still has more position to gain. He could pass the 12 and 70.
Yeah. And so the highest that Bridger can go at this point is 9th, and that's if Grindle and Johnson don't come back out on the racetrack. So Bridger Olsen, ladies and gentlemen, is about to finish in the top 10, 30 laps down, because that's the kind of night it's been. As Peter and Mitch are gonna, I am glad they didn't wreck, because that would have been absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what they're doing.
Yeah, they both go another lap down, respectively. So Trey still leads here, coming to 11 to go. And a tough break for Kyler Wynn, who was on track for a top 5 finish, but will end up yielding that to William now.
They got a bit out of line. Olsen a bit squirrely, and now it disconnects Menchu and Olsen away from this, so this top 2 left by themselves. And Shuttlesworth is playing an interesting strategy, not straddling the bottom. He's right up against the safer barrier, just sort of watching his mirror, just in case if anybody makes a move or something of the matter happens behind. So... Menchu just put Bridger in the wall. That is not what you want to do.
You got one friend out there. You might have just made him not your friend, but... Yeah, it's interesting that Trey's doing that, because we could end up in a similar situation that we saw earlier, where Kyler made that move on Dominic, and Dominic blocked too late and ended up turning them both. Hopefully that doesn't happen here with Trey and Parker, as Bridger makes a move to the bottom by himself, but no help there as we hit 10 to go at the line. Can Trey Shuttlesworth hold off 3 other trucks to win? Or 2, really.
All right.
As Bridger has passed Hunter Johnson, so Bridger is now in 10th place, 30 laps down. As looks like Schmidt is back on pit road. I wonder if his engine might have gone as well.
Might have been looks like this might be a scheduled pit stop for that number 79. But yeah, all eyes are on Shuttlesworth right now, and how he might win this thing.
And Mitch is still on track, so he's going to pass Kyler for 6th. And if Peter can stay himself out long enough for 6 laps, he'll pass Kyler as well. There's the 2 of them.
So Mitch does pass Win, by the way.
And his Hobbs just got by him as well. So now Mitch up into 6th place, and William now into the top 5. So, I mean, quite the night for William Schmidt. He was involved in, I think, the 2nd or 3rd wreck, probably thinking, dang, my race is over. Now he's on track to finish in the top 5.
I mean, with the amount of cars that were eliminated, why not take the chance to pick up as many positions as you can? And not only that, for the points championship as well for Olsen. I mean...
About to pass Harry.
Gotta pass Harry, yep.
Grindle's going to get lapped for the 30th time right here, and Bridger's going to go by him, so... 8 to go, and for 9th place, Bridger Olsen by Harry Grindle, both of whom down 30 laps.
And
but, you know... But like when we talk about situations like this and we mention, you know, guys riding around trying to gain some points, this is exactly what we're talking about, because occasionally you'll get a race like this where just so many trucks get knocked out, where if you just ride around, and you might be a bit boring, you know, you might be just running all by yourself with nobody else in sight, but getting a lot of valuable points in the process.
Yeah, and it is the first race as well, so for all these drivers who are running for a championship, you have to get yourself out on the racetrack as well to be there by the end of race number 6. So
I mean, imagine if Bridger just said, you know what, my race is over, I'm not going to win, I'm out of here. He would have finished probably 35th, but because he kept running around, he's going to finish 9th instead. So that right there is why, if your truck still runs, run it till it goes, because you never know how many points you can get. And for Bridger, he probably gained himself about 25 points doing that.
I mean, for another driver we haven't really talked about as well, who's working himself into this mix in the meantime of that, that's Paul Granada in the 04. He too is on what was he's only a few laps off of Olsen, and he's worked himself back into the racetrack. He's been slowly climbing up the ranks as well. So
he's 11th now, and he's going to pass Grindle in a couple laps. So Granada's going to get himself a top 10 as well, as Grindle's about to go down 32, and Granada's down 33. So in next time by, Paul Granada's going to get himself into the top 10. So Shuttlesworth still leads here. Parker White second, Menchu third, Bridger Olsen in between White and Menchu. As Justin Johnson now 23 seconds back. Unfortunately, the miscommunication on the green flag pit stop caused him to lose the draft after pitting from the race lead. As we'll hit 5 laps to go this time by, can Parker White or Jackson Menchu get themselves around Shuttlesworth or is this thing over?
I mean, they could make the move anytime. I'd rather make the move on the White though, with how little trucks are on the racetrack right now. So 5 laps to go. Sort of a waiting game, and Shuttlesworth, luckily for him, it's not over if he falls back into 4th spot. I mean, if the other two wreck themselves out, that means well, he's gonna be the winner off of these 3 trucks. So how is he gonna plan this right? And he could easily block those 3 right behind. I mean, technically just 2. He doesn't really have to mind Menchu because Olsen's sort of sandwiched between Parker and Menchu. So it's just a matter of how Parker could pull himself out of line, and is Olsen gonna work with him?
Yeah, as we hit 4 to go at the line, the X factor here is going to be Olsen, because Parker White could have a big run out at turn 2 and maybe pull up even with Shuttlesworth, but if Olsen doesn't go up with him, you know, it's not going to mean anything, and he won't be able to do anything with that run, as they put Peter Kenny 11 laps down and get by them. So Bridger Olsen is probably going to decide who ends up winning this race. If Parker White makes a move but Bridger stays down to the bottom, it'll probably be Shuttlesworth. But if Parker makes a move up top and Bridger goes with him, then maybe it'll be Parker, but it could be Menchu as well, as he's trying to make the high side work, but, you know, obviously just no one there to help him.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's just nobody to really help any type of line, so it's not by the term of what line moves and what line goes where. It's just how you're just going to control it.
Well, it's not even that. It's who's Bridger also going to go with.
Yeah, that's right.
That's really it at this point. That's the only thing that's going to make any difference in terms of who wins, is just who Bridger goes with. As Menchu goes all the way up top, he's going to fall back behind the 59. As Paul Granada has now gotten himself past Grindle for 10th.
Camosa's out on the racetrack as well, so
he's gotten by Harry as well. So Camosa now up into 11th. Menchu goes back up top again. Almost contact between him and Parker. Coming to 2 to go. As Shuttlesworth blinks again. Yeah, Menchu you see him right there. He's side by side with Parker White. But Olsen staying to the bottom, so Menchu just can't go anywhere with it. He's just stuck.
Yeah, and if Parker's boxed in line like that, he can't pull out to make a move. Oh, Shuttlesworth has to pull up high from this lap car. Schmidt's gonna get in the way. So what kind of hole's gonna open? Oh, looks like Shuttlesworth went down. Oh!
And Olsen gets shoved down onto the apron, so now the top 3 are all in order here. But you don't know if Menchu might have just irritated Bridger by doing that, so the 69 might have just done himself in there. We'll see how Bridger responds to that. But out of turn 4, the white flag is out here at Daytona. Trey Shuttlesworth, Parker White, and Jackson Menchue are the 3 trucks left in contention for the win. Which one of them's going to get it?
And if all 3 of these somehow wreck each other...
Justin's 36 seconds back.
All right, here we go. So, Olsen, again, watch for that 59. He's going to be a huge catalyst on how this will all play out. And Menchue could be a catalyst of his own. He could pull out with Parker White and make something happen. They go down the back.
Mitchell. So Bridger goes up there by himself. Menchue decides not to go with him as Mitch will get out of the way down into the bottom. And into turn 3 for the final time. I think if a move was going to be made, it would have been made by now. But I think Parker might have one last shot out of 4. Menchue goes peeked up high, but no one's there. And out of turn 4, here comes Parker up top. Menchue stays on the bottom. And at the line, 3 wide.
Oh,
Parker White steals it away from Trey Shuttlesworth and takes the win away. But Menchue was first at the line, but I don't know if that'll be a double yellow penalty or not. But Menchue took it 3 wide below the yellow line and passed both of them. So I don't know if that's going to be a penalty or not.
I think that might be a penalty because, I mean, Menchue clearly below that double yellow line and against Daytona rules, obviously, just can't go there.
I think Parker White's going to win the race. We'll see how the admins rule on this. But yeah, I mean, Menchue very clearly took it 3 wide there. And, I mean, given the circumstance, I mean, I would have probably taken it 3 wide too. I mean, why not? So we'll see how this is ruled. But unofficially, Menchue crossed the line first. He's going to do burnouts as if he won. So I don't know if he's going to be penalized or not.
We'll just have to wait, but man, what a whack race here to spark off the ACOG Super Speedway Series.
It's not very often that I say this about a race, but thank God that's over.
Yeah, for real.
So, unofficial results here. Jackson Menchue crossed the finish line first. We'll see how that gets sorted out here in a few moments. Parker White tentatively in second. We'll see if he gets elevated there to the win or not. Trey Shuttlesworth currently in third again. We'll see how that gets sorted out. Justin Johnson fourth, last car in the lead lap. William Schmidt in 5th, Mitch Hobbs 6th, Peter Kenny, Kyler Wynn, Bridger Olsen, and Paul Granada, 33 laps down, rounds out your top 10.
It's Camosa, Grindle, Johnson, Howe, Sweet, rounding out the top 15. Mulder, Hankins, Woody, Bethune, and Patterson, rounding out the rest of the top 20.
Joe Bergie, 21st, unfortunately for him, was removed by accident from the session earlier, so tough break for him in that department. Michael Schaum, apologies if that's pronounced wrong, 22nd. Max Brady, Benjamin White, Jasper Lenglade, Zach Amon, Liam Sheen, who we saw leading earlier but had that mishap with Grindle on the front stretch. Scott Yost, Zachary Thornton, and Malachi Drake round out your top 30.
Ashcraft, Costello, Brandon, Zimmer, Demantova, Kevin White, Belsha, and Garrett White round out the rest of the order. And yeah, we'll have to sort this out with the in-race admins and such like that. So, not done yet. We'll be right back right after this commercial break. thank you all for tuning in for tonight's ACOG iRacing Series post-race coverage presented to you here by MaxspeedTV. We'll go ahead and slide in our winner into the booth here just momentarily, but of course we got to discuss on the rules situation. I mean, double yellow line, of course.
Yeah, I think kind of a no-brainer with this one. You know, Jackson Menchu clearly went below the yellow line there to advance his position, so he will be moved to the end of the lead lap, and tonight he's still going to walk out of here in fourth, but he will not win the race, and the victory will go to Parker White in the 095, whose last lap move there on the top of Trey Shuttlesworth nets him the victory here for tonight's race. So job well done there for Parker. And I mean, I was talking with Zeke about this over the commercial break. I can't blame Menchu at all for even trying that. I mean, of course, he probably knew he was going to get penalized, but I mean, he's still going to finish fourth. It's like he's not really losing much of anything. So, I mean, why not?
Yeah, so we'll drag into the booth our winner of tonight's race into the booth. Parker White scores a victory here at Daytona after Menchu under the double yellow line, obviously not allowed by ACOG officials. Parker, my goodness, this was messy from start. I mean, not really from start to finish, but the whole entire first 20 laps were messy, and it was left with just you three, yourself, Jackson, and Trey by the end of it. By the end of lap 20, of course, when everybody wiped out, what was going through your mind?
Well, okay, I can't talk. I just couldn't believe that I survived that entire first half of the race, because there was just so many wrecks going on, and I was really trying to be aggressive. And I remember one time I was pushing Justin down the backstretch, and I made an aggressive move to the bottom, and he tried to block. And then I got a shove from Max Brady, and then that shoved Justin below the yellow line. And I was like, all right, what do I do here? Do I just hold my line on the bottom and just not let Justin up, or do I go to the middle and be safe? So I went to the middle. I think Max tried to follow me, and then they all wrecked behind me. So I was able to survive literally every wreck and only get away with no right side door, but I was able to get that fixed just because of the damage model on the Tundra. But then the funny thing was it came down to a 3v1 between Trey, Bridger, and I, because we were on a VC together without Menchu, and we somehow lost the battle to him because he was able to cross the line first. And through that last corner, I was like, all right, I could, because I know Menchu doesn't really know what I'm going to be doing here. Well, he kind of does, but you get my point. But I saw him back off, and then I was like, all right, I just lost my help, and then I couldn't suck up to Trey for some reason, so I had to make my move a little later, and I was like, Menchu's probably going to go below the yellow, and I wasn't sure if that was legal or not, and then I was just watching my relative box all the way through the trial, and I saw it switch to my name up front right at the line, and then just a millisecond later I saw Menchu's name go to the top, and I was like, who won? And then I saw Menchu, and I was like, all right, I don't know if there's a yellow line rule or not. So I was like, I might have still won this race, but I was pretty sure that he won. But I don't know. I guess we're in victory lane here now, so I guess I'll take it. I just came out here to race for fun because I'm usually busy here on Sunday nights, but I was free this Sunday night, so I decided to come out here and race an ACOG.
Yep, and luckily for you, you picked up the victory in probably the messiest race I have ever seen here on MaxspeedTV. But regardless, man, congratulations on the win here for tonight. Before I let you go, any sponsor want to thank?
Yeah, I'm just going to thank everyone that came out here to race tonight, because I honestly had a lot of fun, even though that was kind of a wreck fest. But it was just nice to get to race with everyone from iScar, because I really kind of missed those days, just getting to race every day of the weekend. And I've just got to thank you, of course, Zeke, everyone at MaxspeedTV. I've also got to thank Nebula Esports, Moon Motorsports, Rocket Racing Setups, Snowman Studios, Landon Mills Paints, Blaze Designs, Bunch of Lawn Care, and Eel Media.
All right, by 10-4, Parker White rounds himself out on top of the charts after Menchu's penalty. We'll go ahead and see you coming to the next race, man.
All right, thank you.
And we'll go ahead and drag in our technically third place runner into the booth since Trey is not in here. We'll go ahead and drag in Justin Johnson in.
Hey, Justin, got a copy?
I hear you.
Well, I mean, I don't really know where to start here. I mean, you qualified well. You qualified outside pole, and you end up finishing yourself in third place with the penalty issued to Jackson Menchu. So, I mean, I guess we got to start with how you were leading when the green flag pit stops happened. What happened there? We ended up staying out a lap later and ended up getting disconnected from that pack.
I just didn't know when anyone was gonna pit. Like, no one said anything or anything, so it just, yeah, that's what happened.
Sometimes the cookie crumbles that way, but hey, third place still not bad at all after the race we just had. I mean, what was your vantage point from all those different wrecks that were happening, and how did you manage to survive all the chaos to keep yourself up there?
Man, I don't really know what happened behind me. I was up front most of the day, but I mean, I guess the strategy was just stay up front, avoid the wrecks.
Well, sometimes it works to stay in the back. Sometimes it works to stay in the front. For you, staying in the front worked. You walk out of here with a podium finish. So, congrats on that here tonight. And before we let you go, any last words or sponsors you want to thank here?
Nah. I mean, nah. That's just it.
Short and sweet for Justin Johnson. Qualified outside pole, finishes just behind in third. Hope to see you back here for the rest of the season.
All right, thank you.
And that'll be it here from the MaxspeedTV broadcast. One of the wackiest races. Hopefully I never see a race like that ever again, because that was pretty atrocious. But regardless,
Ditto.
Yeah, my goodness. Dewey, any last words? I mean, probably no words to say off of that, especially for tonight.
I was going to say this. I'm glad it's over.
yeah, my goodness.
Just one of those nights sometimes. I mean, you know, high hopes coming into tonight. You know, sometimes things just don't work out the way you want them to. And, you know, I guess everybody decided to be wrecking balls tonight. So, you know, we ended up with 4 trucks on the lead lap, and 9th place ended up 31 laps down. So that it just happens like that sometimes. You know, usually not to this extent, but sometimes you just get a race where you wonder, how in the heck did that happen? And tonight's definitely one of those. But, well, that's it, I guess. Congratulations to Parker White on taking the win here for tonight after Jackson Menchu's post-race penalty. And I'm not 100% sure what we've got in terms of tracks for this week, but we do have 3 more races in store coming next weekend.
Yep, that's right. The next gen cars will be at the Atlanta Motor Speedway for 250 miles, and not 250 miles, just I think 200 miles of racing, or either 150 there. After that, Saturday comes the late models at Volusia. Sunday night, of course, the ARCA cars will hit the Super Speedway at Talladega. Alright, and until next time, thank you all for watching this crazy, hectic event from the top of the booth. My name is Zika Reyes.
And I'm Dewey Schramm. Bye.
Bye-bye.